Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5 a.m. Club. And as you can see, it's snowing. I'm up here at Blackheath at the moment, and you can see we've got snow covering the ground, and it's a wonderful experience to be in the cold, in the snow. And what I want to do today is share with you something which is near and dear to my heart. Yesterday I went and did a course called Safe Talk as part of my work commitments. I'm a union delegate for the organisation that I work for, and I was invited to do a course called Safe Talk and to basically be suicide aware and to be a person who can talk to people who are having some challenges. And I learned quite a few things yesterday in the course, which I just probably like to take you through today whilst I'm up here at Blackheath. So what did I learn? The course covered a number of aspects and a number of topics. Talked about depression, talked about anxiety, talked about alcoholism, depression, and a whole stack of other challenging sort of topics. One of the interesting things though, I guess one of the confronting things from this course was that the course organisers basically said that at any point in time, 5% of the population, or 1 in 20, are considering suicide, believe it or not. And that suicide is one of those areas, or one of those things that impacts all people, all generations. And the other important thing to understand is that people don't commit suicide just on the spur of the moment. It's something that is mulled over for quite a while. So one of the important points to come out of this course is that every one of us needs to be on the lookout. Every one of us needs to be on the lookout for the signs of suicide, and to basically ask the question. The most important takeaway from this course is that if you see somebody, or if you sense somebody, so it's not only listening to what they're saying, it's being on the lookout. And the sort of signs that they talked about were when people become isolated, when people start to drink a lot more than what they normally drink, if they take up smoking, take on drugs, in some ways get aggressive, or in other ways get completely withdrawn, then they could be an indicator of self-harm. So the big point, as I said, to come out of this course was that we all need to be on the lookout, and to ask the question, and to be very, very direct with the question. And one of the examples that they used is that if you're talking to people and you sense that they're very, very down, one of the things you could probably possibly say is that I see, that you're sad and you're down, which makes me sad and worried. And to pop the question, are you considering self-harm? Are you thinking about suicide? And those questions there, whilst confronting, what the course organisers were saying is that given that at any point in time, you don't know what's happening in people's minds, you don't know what's going on in people's lives, but the mere fact that you open up the discussion is an opportunity to give somebody a chance to talk about the problems that they find very, very difficult to deal with themselves. And that opportunity opens up, I guess, the opportunity for you to listen. So the most important thing to do is, after you've popped the question about whether or not somebody is considering self-harm or are in a very, very bad state of mind, you've got to basically sit and listen to them without interrupting, without talking, because what it does is it allows them to mull over their thoughts, to think and to talk about the issues, the challenges that they have. And then what you need to do is you need to seek help. So all of these things are very confronting. They're all very, very difficult. And we're not all versed in doing these things. But the course organisers did mention that it's imperative that you take action. A lot of people seem to think that if I raise the topic of suicide, if I mention suicide to somebody, then you could trigger some negative thoughts and you could trigger them into wanting to carry something out. But I was reassured in the course that very, very few people take their lives on the spur of the moment without mulling over it for a long time. So the big lesson is for all of us, each and every one of us, to be on the constant lookout. On the constant lookout for people around us who are suffering in silence. It could be your partner, it could be your children, it could be your parents, friends, co-workers. You just don't know. You just don't know where it's going to come from. But what we don't want to do is we don't want to look back over our lives and say that we could have done something. You know, we could have read those signs, but we did nothing. So what the organisers, as I said on this course, suggested that we all do is we take the responsibility, be proactive in being on the lookout and asking the question. You know, like we've got the Are You OK Day, but this goes one step further. It basically asks the question whether or not somebody is considering self-harm. And as I said before, if they are considering self-harm, and you need to probe. Some people will put up a brick wall and not allow you to delve deeper. But sometimes it's important to just push and be nosy, but in a loving way. Because sadly, for a lot of these situations, for a lot of these cases, they say that the future, the sad future, never presents itself unannounced. So people will give clues because secretly they say that all people are looking for leadership, are looking for strong leadership, and they want somebody to reach out to them, to give them a hand to be able to process what's very, very difficult for them at any particular point in time. And sometimes just having somebody listen to you is enough to get them to feel that their life isn't worthless and that there is hope. There is hope. So what do we do? What do we do when we get a feeling? And sometimes it's just a feeling that things aren't right. The organisers of this course were saying that you need to seek help. You need to organise help and seek help for the people, the individuals, and we need to seek professional help. And there are a number of groups that can provide this help. There are consultants, but you need to seek that help for the people quickly and immediately, and not to hold back, I guess, is the important lesson. So, as you can see, I'm surrounded by snow. It is beautiful, and it's probably timely to be up here to talk about this very, very difficult topic, because we are surrounded by challenging times with COVID-19, and people have coping mechanisms. You'll see them. We all have coping mechanisms to try and get through the stresses in life. There's drinking, there's gambling, there's, believe it or not, increased sexual activity or promiscuity. Drug taking, of course. I think we all understand that drugs are a big sort of challenge in our lives. But what we need to do is, as we said, reach out, help wherever we can. But more importantly, is to seek professional help. And there are a number of organisations and groups. And sometimes you just need to call the police. Sometimes you need to call the ambulance, because that may mean the difference between saving somebody's life, a life which is worth saving, everybody's life's worth saving, and or doing nothing at all, and then being, I guess, feeling the guilt for the rest of your life. What the organisers of the course told us, though, is that all you can do is try and help somebody, because if somebody is committed to committing self-harm, then there's nothing much you can do. But what we should all try and do is to reach out and is to listen to them and to arrange for help, I guess, is the bottom line. Anyway, it's a tough topic, a very, very tough topic. But one of my roles now is to be a buddy and to reach out to people within my work group, and to, I guess, to help wherever I can. Hopefully I'll never need to use it. Hopefully I'll never need to do it. But the reality is that there are many people. Each and every one of us have our ups and our down days. I remember years ago when I was working at Optus, going to a self-help sort of seminar that was put on for the employees, and they said that each and every person has mental illness to a certain degree. Each and every one of us, each and every person is suffering mental illness to a certain degree. Some people worse than others, and other people less than others. And yesterday, as I said, they also mentioned that at any one point in time, 1 in 5 people are considering or thinking about self-harm. The other sad thing that I heard, and something for everybody to contemplate, and think about is that there was a person who jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge in America to commit suicide. He decided he wanted to take his life, but he survived. He's the only person to survive the fall off the bridge. And later on in life, he realised that after he jumped, he regretted what he did. So that's something to also keep at the back of your mind, that there is a chance to help somebody, and to stop them and to help them is probably the greatest gift and the greatest miracle that we have available to us. So we can all do something to create miracles in this world and around us. So sorry for bringing up this tough topic, but it is from what I understand, from what I learnt yesterday, it is very, very real. Over 3,000 people in Australia commit suicide every year. That's far more people will lose their lives than from COVID-19 and from many other diseases. And of course it's preventable. It's very, very preventable. And it's up to each and every one of us, you and I, to work together as a team to once again be on the lookout, be helpfully nosy, to be looking for the signs, to be listening, to be reading between the lines of what people are saying. And if people are even suggesting, even in passing comment, even as a joke, that they've had enough, or that life's not worth living, or they just can't cope, then you need to ask the question, are you considering suicide? And then take action from there. Seek professional help. Anyway, as I say, it's a tough topic. I hope I haven't triggered any people's sensitivities. If anybody needs help, by all means, text me, call me, or ring one of the self-help lines. I should have given the number, but bear with me. But one thing that I did early in my life is I promised my family, I promised my children, and I said to them, no matter what happens in my life, I will never ever take my life. So I made that commitment to myself, and I made that commitment to my family. And I welcome everybody else to do the same thing. So things get bad for everybody, but the bad things are only temporary. If we just look at the share market, if we look at COVID-19, the share market shit itself last year. How many people took their lives when the share market fell by 40%? But a year later, it's up by 60%. So it's better now than what it was before. So life is worth living for each and every one of us. And I encourage you, and I encourage everybody to look at the bright side and not to be overwhelmed with negativity, and to try and stand guard at your mind, at your brain, and to try and be as positive as you can, and to live with positive expectancy. There's nothing more beautiful than living with positive expectancy, and to understand that all the fears that we have, all the negativity, all the problems that we face, most of them are not real. Most of the fears are irrational fears. Less than 10% of all the fears that you'll ever have will come to fruition. So don't worry too much. Don't live too much in the future, don't overthink things, and don't worry about the past. Live in the present. So the other thing that the author talked about, or not the author, but the presenters talked about, and it's something that was raised by the Dalai Lama. He says that people who suffer depression tend to spend too much time worrying and living in the past. And people who spend a lot of the time living in the future suffer anxiety. But joy and peace are right here and now, in this place where it's called the eternal now. Because there's no future and there's no past. It's all just an eternal now. So just make the most of the eternal now. Breathe it out. We learned how to breathe, the power of breathing, and also the power of just standing guard to your mind, and live positively. Live with purpose, and to understand that throughout any single day, we're going to have a high point, we're going to have a low point, and we're going to have a lot of average time in between. So that's life. So don't overthink things, and don't get too carried away when things are bad, or too excited when things are good, but to enjoy every single moment. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me on this difficult but important 5 a.m. club. I'm up here at Blackheath, sorry. And as you can see, it's been snowing, it's beautiful. And I'll finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel great. We need to live with gratitude, because there's always somebody worse off than what we are, and to reach out and to help wherever we can, and not to be selfish and to want all the best things for ourselves, but to be understanding of the challenges that each and every person around us is currently facing. So, and as I normally say on my gym's 5 a.m. clubs, let's work together, be partners in each other's growth and development, to be partners in each other's ups and downs, to be the wind beneath our wings, and to live a long life, to live, to love, to learn, and to pass it on, because there are many people around us who depend on us. So, we need to live the right example, and to make sure that we don't leave grief behind us, because the people yesterday who deal with suicide say that a person who commits suicide leaves behind them a lot of unanswered questions and a lot of grief. So let's make sure that we try and minimise that grief for other people, as I said before, by looking out for the signs, asking the question, and reaching out to people who may need help at this point in time. Take care, Filakya, and we'll chat again. Bye for now.